Good morning, all you RCS cut-us. This is Luke Montgomery.
And I am Justin the Beast
This is Luke Montgomery.
Crabtree. Welcome to Biotech News.
Today we'll talk about the cats of Korea that glow in the dark.
Yes, in 2007, South Korea scientists altered a cat's DNA to make it glow in the dark, and then took that DNA and cloned other cats from it, creating a fluorescent, fluory feline.
The process was quite interesting, if you ask me. The researchers took skin cells from Turkish Angora female cats and used a virus to insert genetic instructions for making red fluorescent protein. And this is just this glow-in-the-dark cats, and talking about the scientists that discovered it.
Then they put the gene-altered nuclei into the eggs for cloning, and the cloned embryos were implanted back into the donor cats, making the cats the surrogate mothers for their own clones.
The goal was just to see if the researchers could successfully insert novel genes into the cats.
Some of you may think there is no point in altering these cats' genes and making them glow in the dark, but they do have plenty of qualities.
That's correct, Mr. Beast. One of the pros is potential cures for AIDS.
Also, to test potential gene therapies for HIV.
But don't get too excited, because there are also some cons to these cats.
Yes, they have unknown side effects, and it's a waste of cats and money.
Well, that is all for the cats. Let's pass it over to Garrison Bowes, Jeff Smith, and Clay Fox on bananas.
Good morning. We'll be introducing banana vaccines and the effect they have on the environment. Beside me, I have Clay Fox and Jeff Smith.
Good morning. People may soon be getting vaccinated for diseases like hepatitis B and cholera by simply taking the bite of a banana. Isn't that crazy?
Researchers have successfully engineered bananas, potatoes, lettuce, carrots, and tobacco to produce vaccines. But they say bananas are ideal production and delivery vehicle.
When an altered form of a virus is injected into a banana sapling, the virus genetic material quickly becomes a permanent part of the plant's cells.
As the plant grows, its cell produces the virus proteins, but not the infectious part of the virus.
When people eat a bite of a genetically engineered banana which is full of virus proteins, their immune system builds up antibodies to fight the disease, just like a traditional vaccine.
Edible vaccine has applications for livestock as well. Instead of giving animals large doses of antibiotics, a controversial issue in itself, feeding them an edible vaccine can provide the necessary disease protection.
Many researchers have placed their hopes on edible vaccines as potential eradicators of the infectious disease around the world. Dr. Charles J. Artson, president of the Boyce Thompson Institute, hopes this research will eventually lead to an edible HIV vaccine.
Thank you for joining us today on Banana Vaccines. We will send it over to Will and Sean.
Thank you, Clay, Jeff, and Garrison. Hi, I'm Sean, and I will be reporting to you live from the test fields. Today we will be talking to you about genetically modified trees, also known as poplar trees. Genetically modified trees, or the popular tree just inches tall, are able to break down the pollutants and harmful products. The popular tree can break down some of trichloro at rates almost 100 times faster than one of the other control trees. In biotech studies, scientists have been studying the poplar tree since the early 1990s. They have seen the potential for cleaning up contaminated sites by growing plants able to take up nasty groundwater pollutants through their roots. Then the plants break certain kinds of pollutants into harmful bioproducts that plants either incorporate to their roots, stems, or release into the air. The problem with plants that are capable of doing this is that the process is slow and halts completely when growth stops in winter. Using plants in this way, a process called phytoremediation, often hasn't made sense given the timetables required by regulating agencies of remediation sites. While federal regulations allow the growing of transgenic trees in greenhouses in controlled fields trials for research purposes, they do not allow the commercial growing of transgenic trees. A transgenic plant is one in which its genetic material is manipulated. Sometimes only its own genetic material is altered, and sometimes genetic material is added from other plants, bacteria, or animals.
Thank you for your time, and now we are going to turn it over to Peyton and Jasmine.
Thank you, Will and Sean.
Today we'll be talking about web-spinning goats.
The definition of a web-spinning goat is when you take a spider's dragline silk gene and insert it into goats in order for the goats to make special proteins in their milk. You wouldn't believe the millions of uses we have and continue to find from spider's dragline silk gene.
Really, what are some of the uses we have for it?
Well, we use it for bulletproof vests, car airbags, parachutes, and so many other uses.
Wow, it's strong enough to be included in a bulletproof vest.
Yeah, apparently it's one of the strongest man-made fibers, and it's super elastic.
So when the silk gene is inserted into the goats, does it hurt them?
Well, not according to Professor Randy Lewis from the University of Wyoming. There's no differences in health or in the behavior of the goats.
Oh, okay. So why are the scientists inserting this genes into goats?
Well, one theory is that the silk milk can be used to manufacture a web-like material known as biosteel.
But why goats?
Future scientists plan to incorporate this gene into alfalfa plants and maybe even into other animals, but goats were the perfect trial candidates.
Could they insert the genes into humans?
Maybe one day.
So Spider-Man might become a reality.
It's always a possibility, especially when the field of science is changing, growing, and advancing.
Do the goats resemble spiders at all?
No, it's important to remember that the insertion of this gene from the spider does not make it resemble it.
At least it is safe to say the web-spinning goats can open many doors of scientific advancements and discoveries.
Speaking of new advancements, let us move the discussion to Jared and Larry, who will be talking about the EnviroPig.
Thanks, Jasmine and Peyton. That was interesting. Today we were talking about the EnviroPig, or Frankenswine as some critics call it. The EnviroPig was created by taking one gene from a bacteria that produces the enzyme phytase and combining it with another very small portion of a gene from a mouse that controls the production of proteins from the salivary glands. The genes were inserted into a fertilized pig embryo by pronuclear microinjection, and the embryo, along with others, was surgically implanted into the reproductive area of a female pig during its period of maximum sexual receptivity.
Why was the EnviroPig created, Jerry?
The EnviroPig was created to reduce water pollution and overall reduce phosphorus pollution.
Well, can you tell me who created the EnviroPig?
The EnviroPig was developed at the University of Guelph.
Okay, now here are some pros about the EnviroPig. Pros: reduce feed costs, produce more milk for its offspring, exercise less phosphorus. On the other hand, here are some cons about EnviroPig. People do not approve of eating the EnviroPig, maybe because of its expense, or people may be allergic to the EnviroPig pork.
A new research team at the University of Guelph has developed a new line of transgenic EnviroPigs. The new line of pigs is called the Cassie line, and it is known for passing genes on more reliably. The results of this project were published ahead of print in the Journal of Animal Science.
Now we'll turn our program over to Stephen and Adam.
Thanks, Larry and Jared. Today we'll be talking about less flock-link cows that produce significant amounts of methane as a result of their digestion process. It's produced by a bacterium that's a byproduct of cows' high cellulose diets that include grass and hay.
Scientists do this by putting a cow on a diet off of omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids.
Scientists think that agriculture is responsible for about 14% of the world's greenhouse gases. Also, about 15 billion cows and billions of other grazing emit dozens of pollution gases.
Cows release a massive amount of methane through burping and passing gas.
Yeah, buddy.
Methane is a major contributor only to carbon dioxide to the greenhouse effect, so scientists have been working to genetically engineer a cow that produces less methane.
Thanks for your time. We'll see you next week to tell you about how the dogs are doing in this cold weather.